Welcome home to St. Anne's. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you. You may have noticed that some things are different today, and that's because it is Lent. And Lent is a season in the church calendar in which we set time aside to prepare ourselves really, truly, intentionally for the coming of Easter. And that can look different in many, many ways. And so let's go over that a little bit. It's really common during this time to practice a form of fasting or abstinence from something, to give something up, if you will, or to take on some sort of spiritual discipline. And that's because these 40 days are focused on preparing oneself for ministry and indeed for Easter. It's supposed to mimic these 40 days from this story that we get. Because here's kind of what happens. Jesus gets his call to ministry, and he accepts that call in his baptism. Something many of us have done, correct? Most people here are baptized. So most people here have accepted the call to ministry. Yeah, you didn't know that, did you? Surprise! And here's the thing. We can't really, truly accept our call to ministry until we've really, truly come face to face with the things that get in the way. And God knows this, and Jesus being fully human and fully divine, the fully human part being the problem here, he needs to prepare to actually do ministry. He has to come to grips with everything that potentially gets in the way. And that's what this 40 days in the wilderness really is. It's a preparatory time to accept the call that he's already accepted. And I think it's really important to look at, and I know you all were hoping I'd talk more about Adam and Eve. I know. Everybody really wants to hear me preach on Adam and Eve. We'll do that another time. Because really what this is about, and even the Adam and Eve story, it's about how do we come to grips with temptation? And what do we find when we are willing to come to grips with temptation? To not run from it, to not avoid it, to not deny it exists, but to really look at it in its face, call it what it is, name it, and deal with it. Because we must. It is so vitally, vitally important that we figure out those temptations that control us. We name them for what they are, and then we deal with them. Because the more human thing to do in our dirty, nasty, humaniness, yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. If it wasn't a thing, it's totally a thing now. Is to really embrace it because, hello, it's kind of fun. I mean, anyone else here tempted to do things that are super fun? Yeah, I know I am. I love things that I'm tempted to do. And maybe it's because I'm basically a 5-year-old and I have like no sense of self-control. But the things I feel the urge to do are usually pretty fun things. In fact, everybody at work knows that you can't let me get bored. It's common knowledge because I work in a middle school. And really, all I'm going to do is go stroll up all of the other middle schoolers who are kind of like me, and we're going to do crazy stuff. Yeah, ask me the number of things that I've worn on my head. It's kind of alarming. Yeah. Okay, so our human thing, first and foremost, is to embrace temptation and be like, that sounds like fun. Yeah, I'm totally going to do that. Or, in our self-righteous indignation, deny that it even exists, right? That's the other thing to do. The good Baptist thing of like, oh, no, we don't gamble and we don't drink. Yeah, they do. They just don't do it with you. You just weren't invited. So those are the two things that we generally do as humans. It's not just Baptists, by the way. It's lots of people. So don't go to your Baptist friends and be like, they just made fun of you in a sermon. I mean, I did, but but it was me too. Okay, So we embrace it or we deny it. Y'all are going to go talk to your Baptist friends, aren't you? Like, Missouri's literally full of Baptists. They will find me. They already know where I am, actually. Or we deny it, right? But really, the message that we get today from Jesus is neither of those things. It's to come face to face with the stuff that gets in the way and to face it, to name it, to call it what it is, and then to move on. And I think it's important to look at the three things that Jesus is tempted by. The first one is he's really hungry. Now, I know some of you have been fasting with me on Wednesdays. I'm fasting on Wednesdays along with our presiding bishop because the world is screwed up. I don't know how me being hungry is going to fix the world being screwed up, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I mean, I'm running out of things to do at this point, so I'll not eat on Wednesdays. Okay, but you get super hungry, right? Right? Now, you could argue, if you're like a hardcore Episcopalian who's really into science, that like all of this is a hallucination because he's starving. I've done crazy things and talked to crazy people when I'm hungry, but no, that's not the point. So his first temptation is the first one that happens for all of us. What is the first temptation that we all face? Yeah, physical stuff, right? Okay, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Your first hierarchy of need, the most important thing for you is what? Physical stuff, right? You're hungry, you're thirsty, you're tired. The third one, I don't know, are there kids in the room? Okay, she's a teenager, she gets it. Okay, so we got the big three, right? Those are the first ones that Jesus has to come face to face with. Yeah, you're a teenager, you know what it is. You know what the third thing is. Okay, I work in a middle school. I know we all know what the third thing is. And what's impressive, I hope we all are giving me so much credit for this because normally I would totally say it in a sermon. But I'm not today. Sex, thank you. Yes, somebody had to say it. Come on, people, it's a thing. All right. It's a temptation too. And not a bad one. Okay. So the first one that Jesus has to come to grips with is physical needs, right? And he does that by quoting scripture. So the first one that we all have to come face to face with is our physical desires, right? Not that those things are bad. Remember, temptations aren't necessarily bad things, okay? That's super, super important. These things are only bad things when they control us. Okay, so that's his first one. The second one is really important to notice what it is. Look at it again. What is it? Satan, the devil, whomever, whatever, takes him to the highest pinnacle in the city, the very center of society at that time. This place would be packed, crowded. Jesus is up at the top of them, and Satan says to him, jump off. You'll be fine. Now, you might think that the temptation is to, like, go into acrobatics or something. No, the temptation here is for fame. Popularity. And if you're not tempted by popularity and fame, I'm going to call that out for what it is. That's not true. You're like, I'm an introvert. I don't like other people. Oh, hush. That's not true. We're all tempted by popularity and fame to create wonder in others, to be so charismatic and so wonderful that other people are just like, whoa, what the heck, right? That's what this is. And Jesus knows that he could do that, right? He's the Son of God. He totally could jump from the very top of the temple in front of everybody and be okay. Second temptation is the temptation of fame, of being a wonder to other people. That's a super big temptation. And you know what's also ridiculous? The devil knows scriptures. What? That's annoying. Because don't you think that when we come face to face with the devil, he should be stupid? and not know Scripture, because, like, don't we all think it's going to be the opposite? Like, we always think that temptation and the devil and things like that are going to be big and ugly and scary. No, they're not. They're going to be super, super hot. Yeah, they're going to be pretty. Right? So his second temptation is for the temptation of popularity and fame. His third temptation is power. Now, when you look at theology, you should look at things. We like things in threes, because who doesn't? It's a nice round number. And it always goes up. Now, for many of us in our secular world, we like to think of it as the opposite. That the temptations that are the biggest problems are the physical ones. Like, you need to control your eating, and you need to control your drinking, and you need to control whom you're with. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. I don't know. Depends on who you're with. I totally said that in the sermon. I have zero regrets. Okay. But really, that's not the case. Really, I know the teenagers are like, I'm going to remember that for later. When she's getting all preachy at home. But really, our biggest one that we have to deal with is power. We are obsessed with power. And it is not until Jesus comes face to face with his desire and his temptation for power that he is really, truly prepared for ministry. Coming to deal with his temptations for hunger and food and whatnot does not prepare him for ministry. He gets a little bit closer when he deals with wanting to be famous. But it's really not until Jesus deals with his desire to be powerful, to control things. Anyone here not like to control things? If you raise your hand, get out, because I know you're a liar. Actually, stay. We need all the liars we can handle. No, we want power. We want to control things. That's what feels good, doesn't it? And it's not until you and I come face to face with those things that we're ready, that we're really, truly ready to do what God has called us to do. And guys, we need a lot more than 40 days and 40 nights. Because what really destroys things in our world? Hungry people? Do hungry people control and destroy our world? No. It's the hunger for power, that desire to control things that are not ours to control. That is what destroys our world. So brothers and sisters, we have 40 days and 40 nights, because you and I have to come face to face with those temptations in the same way that Christ did, because Jesus was not ready to be the Christ until he knew how to give up all the things that come with being the Christ. And brothers and sisters, you and I are not prepared for ministry. We are not prepared to be who we are called to be until we have given up all those things that could come with it. I feel like I should say something funny at the end.
We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.